lesson 4.2, this is found in your packets on page 10 and 11. Looks a little bit different than yours, mine's in color. But yes, this is still the same, 4.2, understanding slope-intercept form. So we're exploring the relationship between the lines y equals mx plus b and y equals mx, okay? Or y equals kx, as you learned in 7th grade. We learned y equals k, the constant of proportionality times x. K is now m, it's called slope. It's the rate of change of the line across the graph paper. So, in this example, time is x in seconds, and usually time is the x-axis. It's the independent variable. Distance is the dependent variable on the y-axis here. So Jim's distance from the curb and Sam's distance from the curb in y feet. So we have this nice table. Jim and his brother Sam walk from one end of the block to the other. The table shows their record of times in x seconds and the corresponding distances in y feet. Jim starts at the curb and Sam starts 4 feet ahead of them. So we can see that 4 feet ahead of him, Sam starts 4 feet ahead of him, right here on the y-axis. His intercept there, or where he intersects the y-axis, is the point 0, 4. He's 4 feet already ahead. He's already gone 4 feet ahead of him. The graph shows each brother's distance from the curb after x seconds. So after 1 second, Jim is at 4 feet and Sam is at 8 feet. Jim's graph represents a direct proportion. The rate 4 feet per second, that's that k that you were finding, y equals kx, 4 feet per second, is also the slope of the red line, and the equation of the red line is given by y equals 4x. So Jim here is in red, y equals 4x. Sam is always 4 feet ahead of Jim, but traveling at the same rate of speed, 4 feet per second. So far, Sam's graph, the equation of the blue line, is given by y equals 4x plus 4. He's 4 feet ahead. So each point you can see here, he's 4 feet ahead of him in each one of these distances, right from the start. Jim's graph and Sam's graph have the same slope because they have walked at the same rate of 4 feet per second. They are what are called parallel lines. We're going to talk about that in a future lesson. But for right now, they're parallel lines. They have the same slope. Their m's are equal. Their slopes are equal, delta y over delta x. So their equations involve the same rate of change, the same m, the same slope. Their graphs are different because they cross the y-axis at a different point. Jim's graph passes through the point 0, 0, the origin, and Sam's graph crosses the y-axis at the point 0, 4. The y-intercept of a line is the y-coordinate of the point where the line intersects the y-axis. The y-intercept of Jim's graph, the red graph, is 0. So the equation is given by y equals 4x plus 0, which just means y equals 4x. The y-intercept of Sam's graph is 4. So the equation, the blue line, y equals 4x plus 4. There's his y-intercept. 4 is their rate of change, up 4 and over 1. Go up 4 feet in 1 second. So their m is 4, and Sam's y-intercept is also 4. A linear equation written in the form of y equals mx plus b is said to be written in slope-intercept form. We're going to talk about 3 forms of equations of linear lines. This is the slope-intercept form. The constant m, which we know, represents the slope of the line, delta y over delta x. And the constant b represents the y-intercept.
Ryan Zimmerman, please come down to the main office. Ryan
So
Zimmerman,
m
please
is
come down
the
to main
slope,
office or call.
and y, the y-intercept is b. M is the slope, that's why it's called slope-intercept form. M is the slope, the y-intercept is b. So very important equation concept that you're going to talk a lot about this year. So here's our equation, y equals mx plus b. The m represents the slope, and the b represents the y-intercept. The intersection of the y-axis. There's also a thing called the x-intercept. It's where the line crosses the x-axis, but we're just talking about the y-intercept now. Find the slope and the y-intercept of each equation. If they are written in y equals mx plus b, the slope-intercept form, we just have to look for the coefficient of x, that's the m, the slope. So here's the coefficient of x, slope m. Here the slope is 2, or we could write it as 2 over 1 if we wanted to. And I'm going to even write m equals. So the slope of 2x minus 5, the slope is 2 over 1. The y-intercept here, the b, is negative 5. So b equals negative 5. Well, I'm even going to write b equals negative 5, just to get in the good habit. In the second equation, y equals 3 minus x, be careful, that is a negative 1 coefficient in front of that x. So m equals negative 1 over 1. I like to write them as a fraction. You could just say negative 1. And the b is positive 3. 2x equals y. Well, that's the same thing as y equals 2x. And it's like being 2x plus 0. We don't have to show plus 0. So yes, my slope is that coefficient of x, m equals, and I'm going to write it as 2 over 1. And my b is 0. Y equals x. Well, understood in front of there, the coefficient of that x, that's 1x. So my slope is 1 over 1, or you could just write 1, and my y-intercept is 0. Y equals x. Y equals 2. It does not have a x term in it. Y equals 2 is a horizontal line. And it looks like this, the line y equals 2. And if I remember from our lesson the other day, a horizontal line has 0 slope. So this is like the equation y equals 0x, which we would not write. 0 times x is just 0, plus 2. So my slope here is 0. And I'm not going to write it as a fraction. I'm just going to say m equals 0. It's the horizontal line. It would look like this on the graph paper. I kind of drew it out there for you. The y-intercept, however, we do know the b. The b is 2. The y-intercept, yes, this crosses the y-axis at 0, 2. Y equals negative 3/4. Well, that's a negatively sloping line. It has a negative coefficient in front of x. That's negative 3/4. And b is negative 1. My y-intercept is negative 1. Graph each pair of points on the coordinate plane, find the slope, identify the y-intercept, and write the equation for the line. So we've got a coordinate axis here. I'm quickly going to number it. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we always label the y-axis to the left of the axes, and we label the x-axis below the x-axis. So below and left. And it's our traditional number line. Sometimes it's hard to squeeze in that negative 1 and negative 1 there. Negative 3, negative 4. We should number out to 4 in all directions. So A is the point 3, negative 3. So this is line A. I'm making a line. I have 2 points. How many points make a line? 2. How many points are in a line? Infinitely many. To make a line, you need a minimum of 2. So the point negative 3, negative 2. Negative 3, negative 2. So it's down here in my third quadrant. Negative 3, negative 2. In case you forgot the quadrants, a little review here. This is quadrant 1. They are always labeled in Roman numerals after Rene Descartes. And yes, it is counterclockwise that they are numbered. 1, 2, 3, and 4. -3, -2 the point, and 3, 2. So 3 over 3 and up 2. So I'm going to connect my points with my handy dandy line extension here and hope that this works. I'm going to make a line, and yes, I'm going to put an arrow on both ends of my line. I'm going to extend a little bit beyond my 2 points. Please extend your line, not just between those 2 points. I don't want to see segments. I want to see lines. So I know that the B, oh, look at that, across the y-axis at 0. So B equals 0. My slope, well, if I start from the point -3, -2 to 0, 0, I go up 2 and over 3. This is a positively sloping line. My slope is 2/3. So now that I know my B and my M, I can write the equation. Y equals M, I'm going to substitute that in, 2/3 X plus B. I don't have any B. It's 0. So it's kind of silly to write plus 0. So we're not going to. I'll erase that. So this is the equation, y equals 2/3 X. And I'm going to label my line, y equals 2/3 X. Line B, letter B, -4, 3. So -4, 3 is over here in the second quadrant. And -4, -2 is down here in the third quadrant. And it looks like I'm drawing a vertical line. I'm going to extend it beyond my points because that's good graph drawing. And my line B looks like it never crosses the y-axis. It's parallel to it. It won't cross the y-axis. So my B is none. None, not 0, not 0, that's the origin. It's none. It doesn't have a y-intercept. And my slope, what did we say about vertical lines? You can't ski a vertical line. My delta y is forever changing, but my delta x is never changing. I'm always staying at x equals -4. So when you have 0 on the bottom, delta y over delta x, my infinity, my y's keep changing, but my x's don't. Can't divide by 0. It's called no slope. So a vertical line has no slope. So how do I put that into my y equals mx plus b? Well, this isn't a y equals equation. This is a special equation. This is the equation, because I don't have a slope, so I'm not going to have an x thing in here, and I'm not going to have a y-intercept. I'm just going to have x equals -4. No coefficient. It's not a y equals mx plus b, because it's not a function, and we'll talk about that again. This is a special case. Vertical lines are not y equals. They are x equals. Everywhere on this line that I drew in here, everywhere on this line is where the point x equals -4. Y continuously changes. So that is the line x equals -4. Vertical lines are x equals lines. C, my last points here. -3, 4. So -3, 4. It's being popular over here in the second quadrant. -3, 4, and 1, 4. Oh, 1, 4, 1, 4. -3, 4, and 1, 4. So my y equals 2/3 x there. Okay, so using my nice line tool here. Oh, no, I don't want a polygon. Take that off of there. My line tool, must have hit something. My line tool, here we go. Now I have the horizontal line. Put an arrow on both ends. Arrows make lines. So I have the horizontal line. My slope, this we can ski forever and ever and ever. My slope, my B, I know what that is. What's my y-intercept? That's 4. My slope, my change in my y values is no change. It's always 4. All along here. Y equals 4, 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 y equals 4. All along there, y equals 4. So I'm not changing my y values, but infinitely changing my x values. Because those arrows say that line goes on infinitely forever. This is 0 slope. So if I put a 0 in front of my coefficient x, 0x, y equals mx, my slope is 0, plus b, my equation, plus b, I can substitute in what my b is, y equals 0x plus 4, well, that's silly to write 0x, so we won't. That's the equation y equals 4. So the other kind of special equation, horizontal lines, this is the line y equals 4. So in summary, horizontal lines, y equals, whatever that intersection of the y-axis is, y equals 4. If I was putting all my points down here, it would be y equals -6. This line would be y equals -6. If I was putting all of my points over here in this vertical lines are x equals. This would be the line, if I connected all those points with the line, would be x equals -6. So vertical lines are x equals, horizontal lines are y equals, and lines with positive and negative slope usually follow that formula y equals mx plus b. M being the coefficient of x. And that's it for today.